What's up? What's up? My name is Tasha, and this is the Healthy, Happy, and Hot Show, where I take my 18 years as a fitness and nutrition coach and discuss how to become your best and healthiest self in a way that's simple and sustainable for you. Today, we're going to be talking about a topic that plagues a lot of folks. And you know, as we're getting out here in these streets, we're getting on these planes and, you know, we're flying out, going to different countries and all of those fun things as things start to kind of get back to normal in the world when it comes to these pandemic times. We're going out to eat a lot more. You know, during 2020, a lot of folks learned how to cook. They were cooking more meals at home or, you know, just making healthier decisions. But now that things are opening up, we're getting out there and we want to be out there and also enjoy some of our favorite foods without eating salads all the time. And I'm starting to hear that a lot more with my own clients as well as with others that I just come across. They're just like, yo, I just want to eat good food. How can I do that without messing up? And so that's what we are going to discuss today. We're going to talk about dining out, indulging, not cheat meals. And I'll talk more about why we don't call them that and just how to do that without overdoing it and without messing up your goals. So grab a pen, grab some paper because you are going to want to take notes on this, and let's get it popping. Okay, so first let's define what is an indulgence and then what is an indulgent meal. So an indulgence is anything that takes you off of the way you should be eating most of the time to reach your goals. So regardless of if you are looking for weight loss, weight gain, or even maintenance, there's a certain way that you know you should be eating to accomplish that goal most of the time. So when you go outside of that, it is kind of like an indulgence. Another word for it would be cheat, but I don't really like that word. And the reason is when you think about cheating on something, like just think about it. When I just say you cheated, what does that bring up for you? Those are not positive thoughts. Those are not like, it sounds like you're being vilified. It sounds like you did something wrong. And when you decide to go off of your eating, the way of eating to reach your goals, it's not that you've done something wrong. It's human, right? We got to stop making ourselves believe that we're going to eat 100%, 100% of the time. That's not the way it works. We're human, and just humanity, again, food is a double-edged sword. We have to have it, but then we also use it culturally just to celebrate so many different things, to celebrate. We use it as an emotional crutch, which we shouldn't, but we do. And so food is a double-edged sword. So an indulgence is normal. Okay. And I like to use the word indulgent instead of cheat because we don't need to feel bad about it. It happens and it's okay. So an indulgence is anything that takes you off of the plan of the way that you should be eating to reach your goals. And when I say indulgent meal, that is an entire meal of that. So again, what's the difference there? Let's say that you made, you made a meal for your family in the evening and you have a very picky toddler. And so the toddler's not going to eat, let's say zucchini noodles and meatballs with marinara sauce. Your toddler's like, that ain't going to happen. So for your toddler, you make them, let's just say, chicken nuggets, fries, like those finger foods, right? And let's say that your toddler only ate half of that. You are indulging when you decide to clear off the rest of that plate as you're cleaning up versus packing it away for a leftover for the toddler or throwing it away. So when you eat some of those chicken nuggets, the rest of the fries and all those little things like that, finish off the, juice or whatever, that's an indulgence. That wasn't supposed to happen. And what we do, we tend to forget about those and they add up. So sometimes I'm talking to clients and, they're just like, oh man, I don't understand why things didn't go a better way this week. I ate everything like I was supposed to. And I was like, okay, well, were there any variations? Like anything that went in, that you consumed that was different than what we planned. And then it's like, oh, well, like my kid left half of this, or there was a snack, or there was a cookie, and it ends up being like little things. But as they even go over it throughout the week, they're like, oh, got it. So those indulgences can add up. All right. So that's something that the one-off thing or the little things, those are all indulgences. An indulgent meal is like, you went to McDonald's, you got a number whatever with a shake. Let me say Chick-fil-A, because we all know that McDonald's ice cream things don't ever work. So let's go to Chick-fil-A. You have to Chick-fil-A, you got a number one, you decided to make it a large, and you got their cookie and cream milkshake, also a large. That is now an indulgent meal. Okay. Now, would you consider that because you just popped through a drive-through? It was just like I didn't know what I was going to eat, and this was right here. You've made it an indulgent meal. Okay. So that's how we define those. An indulgence is that kind of one-off. An indulgent meal is like a whole meal. Okay. So we want to make sure that your indulgent meals are worth it. One, we want to make sure that you're just doing indulgent meals for the most part. Make it a whole meal, not these little one-off crummy things, right? So we want to make sure that your indulgent meal is worth it. Most of the time, whenever I'm talking to clients and I'm like, oh, well, that drive-through run, that's an indulgent meal. They're like, no, that's not even that big of a deal. I don't even like Chick-fil-A like that. I'm sorry. That's just kind of how it turned out. You made it into an indulgent meal. So first thing I want you to do, write this down, grab the pen and paper. What are some of your favorite foods? Like, what are the foods that you could eat multiple times per week and not get sick of it? What are some of the foods or a meal or a place that you could dine out at where you would pay 3 times the amount? All right. Because we all know that there are some places where you're just like, yo, why am I paying $15 for a hamburger? Right. And it's because it's luscious, it's delicious, it's decadent, and you love it. And that's fine. So think about what are some of those things. For me, it's easy. I love garlic Parmesan wings. I can make them myself. And most of the time mine does taste better than the restaurants, but I would definitely pay a dumb amount of money for some good garlic Parmesan wings. I would pay a good dumb amount of money for like a really good turkey burger because I don't eat beef. And I actually did that yesterday. Or some really good fries. So those are some things that I would easily indulge in. And those are some of my favorite foods. So write down, what are some of your favorite foods? What are some favorite meals to have? Some of your favorite places to eat. Okay. I also love Mexican food. If I go to a Mexican restaurant, there's no way that I'm doing anything according to a plan other than the plan of gluttony. Like, I'm getting chips and queso. I'm getting tacos. Like, what vegetable? Who cares about vegetables when I'm at a Mexican restaurant? Now, if they have a salad, I'll grab it. But for the most part, I'm just going all in on chips and queso and some tacos. So that's an indulgent meal for me. That's what I enjoy. So write down some of your favorite foods, some of your favorite places to eat, some of your favorite meals. Then when you have that list, now you know your favorites. I wouldn't expect for you to really indulge or to really see any other things that's on your list there, because too many times we don't realize that we're just eating things just because it's in front of you. Like, I'll talk to a client and they're like, yeah, I had this cheesecake. And I was like, okay, so that was one of your X number of indulgences, which I'll tell you how we figured that out. And they're like, no, well, I don't even like cheesecake. Yo, then why'd you eat it? Was it good? And it was like, it was all right. Dude, don't waste an indulgence. We have to start to prioritize some of those things. We don't need to eat every little sweet thing that's in front of us. Not everything should just have the privilege of crossing our lips, right? So we have to make certain things a priority. Your favorite foods are your priority. So if you told me you love creme brulee, let's just say, bars, then I would expect anytime creme brulee was an option, you're going to get it. And I would be like, okay, cool. But if you're telling me you had 4 chocolate chip cookies and that's not even a favorite food, I'm gonna be like, what happened? Like, why did we do this? You know what I mean? So Get your favorites. Those are the things that you indulge in. So let's talk about why do we need to indulge? And the reason for that is that it's impossible to stick to a healthy diet 100% of the time. Cravings and the urge to just let loose come and go for everyone. Don't let these people lie to you. Everyone. The only exception to this is if you have someone that is super serious in like the bodybuilding figure competitor, even if they're a competitive athlete world and it's like on season for them and they're training for an upcoming event, then they probably are strict pretty like 100% of the time. They probably don't have indulgences and things of that nature because they are training for something at a high level. But us, Joe Schmoes, Jane Schmoes, bye. You are not eating healthy 100% of the time. So these things are normal to crave and have urges for just like, I just want to do what I want, right? Plus, hormones can affect things as well. So there's two main hormones that we need to always focus on. And these are the things that control a lot when it comes to food. And they're called leptin and ghrelin. And these two hormones control when we feel hungry and when we're full. So leptin is the hormone that regulates our appetite and controls satisfaction. So leptin is the hormone that's just kind of like, okay, we've had enough. We're good. It signals when you are full. Okay. Your leptin production depends on your calorie intake. Okay, so if you're in a caloric deficit or consume excess calories, your leptin will decrease and increase respectively. Now, on the other hand, ghrelin is a hormone that tells you when you're hungry. When you're trying to lose weight and you're following a low calorie diet, your ghrelin levels will actually increase. Okay, so you start to, it's kind of classic, right? If you're losing weight, you're like, I'm going to drop down to 1,200 calories or less, and you feel hungry. Yeah, because your ghrelin levels are like, yo, what you doing? Like, this is not our normal, and it's going to signal that you're hungry. So the more you do that, then your ghrelin levels are going to be off a little bit. So one way that indulgent meals can actually boost your metabolism is by increasing the levels of leptin, the, anti-starvation hormone responsible for sending hunger messages to your body. And so when your body senses that it's in a caloric deficit, leptin levels will drop, promoting the metabolism to slow down and conserve energy. I have said this once, I will say it again. Your body is smarter than you, and it doesn't care about your weight loss goals. So you can want to lose weight, but your body just knows that things are off and this is not your usual thing that you do because it's not used to this yet. So you think, okay, I'll just play around with these calories and stuff like that. And your body's smarter than you. So it's like, oh, okay, got it. Let me just slow down your metabolism to conserve energy until they get around food again. Because remember, we're modern beings, but we're on a very prehistoric framework. So when you throw in a calorie rich, a higher calorie indulgent meal, it kind of tricks your system into thinking food is plentiful and that it's okay to burn through your fat stores. Okay. So if not, it's thinking, oh, we're just in a point of famine like we used to be back in the day, the hunter gatherer. We weren't always having large amounts of deer or whatever they ate back then to eat. So, if we didn't have it, our bodies would compensate for it so that we wouldn't die. Your body's goal is to keep you alive, not have you lose weight. It doesn't really care about that. So you got to kind of trick it. And that's where indulgent meals come in. So how can we do this in the best way possible without messing up our goals? I got you. Again, grab the pen and paper. So first thing you got to do is plan it. You got to plan when and what you're going to eat. That's where meal planning is so important. Most experts, myself included, would agree that one shift, where you just kind of do whatever you want per week is totally sufficient. And it's a good idea to line up that indulgent meal on a weekend or special occasion, but don't make it just weekends. We don't want to make weekends special. Weekends are any other day. So a social occasion is a great time to have an indulgent meal. Or if you have friends that are not about that life, not about this healthy life, and you're going out with them, just already make that an indulgent meal so you don't have to hear like, why you eating a salad? Why you eating so funny? Ew. You don't need to lose weight, girl. Or dude, you ain't got to lose weight. Don't ask me where these voices come from, okay? That's just how I think of it in my head. So by planning your indulgent meal, you know what you'll be eating, and you can, kind of make some other adjustments throughout the day. And it allows you to really pick a favorite food instead of wasting calories on something you didn't enjoy. All right. Because again, we want to make it the things that we love, the restaurants we love, the foods that we love, not some random drive-through because you didn't think you had any other options. All right. So make sure that you plan these indulgent meals. They shouldn't be oopses. Here's the other thing. Indulgent meals only make up 10 to 15% of your total meals. Okay. So you can do this either daily or you can do this weekly. I like to have folks do them weekly. So let's do some math. Let's say you eat 3 meals a day times 7 days in a week. That's 21 meals. If you're doing 10%, then that will give you 2 meals. So that means you would have 2 indulgent meals per week that you're indulging in. Do whatever you want. But then 90% of the time, you need to be eating towards the goals that you said that you want to achieve. Now, if you bump that up to 15%, where you're doing 15% indulgent and only 85% of the time you're like on your thing, your results will still be good. They'll be good. They won't be great, but they'll be good. And then you get 3 indulgent meals per week. But that's it. You don't want to drop down to 80% because think of these as grades. And when I was in school, 80% was a C. That's average. Okay. We don't want you to be average. We want you to have really good results. So try to stick really 10% is what I coach people on. If you go to 15 every once in a while, that's not that big of a deal. So 2 to 3 meals per week are indulgent meals. Now, you can have a little something daily. Now, little something would be like, you may have like 100 calorie treat, not 100 calorie snack pack, but something that's small, or you can save them up for throughout the week. Okay. Don't just put them on the weekend and just say you're going to have a weekend blast. Okay. That's not going to work well. And we'll talk about that. You do not want to have 2 indulgent meals back to back either, because remember, we want this to be a surprise for your body. We want this to be out of the norm so that your body just kind of burns through. It's kind of like, oh shoot, what was that? Chick-fil-A. And then it's like, okay, that must have been a mistake and burn through it. If you have Chick-fil-A, let's say that is something that is an indulgent for you and you love Chick-fil-A, and then like the very next meal is something else that was really decadent, indulgent, burger, fries, milkshake again, your body's kind of like, oh, is this what we're doing? And then it starts to think that you're creating a pattern. It'll start to kick off more cravings for those type of things. Have you ever had 2 not so great meals in a row or 2 indulgent meals in a row? You probably didn't call them indulgent meals. You probably just thought, well, it's the weekend. But then you have a hard time getting back on track because you just want more carbs and sugars and things like that. That's why. So don't have 2 indulgent meals back to back. Have some space in between them. Maybe you have 1 on the weekend and then 1 during the week, that type of thing. Okay. Other thing, if possible, here's some little tips and tricks. You want to fast a little bit before the meal. I haven't talked a lot about intermittent fasting, and we will do that on another show. But let's say that you are doing an indulgent around dinner time. Maybe move the first meal to later on in the day, right? So instead of having breakfast, just have your lunch. Reducing the number of hours you'll be eating not only just saves you calories, but it also kind of shifts your body into burning a little bit more fat overall. Okay. But you don't want to show up to, your indulgent meal famished either, because then you'll overeat. So you want to make sure that you eat 1 high quality, high protein meal before that indulgent. And then, with some veggies and stuff like that, just to slow down your digestion rate. So something like a big green salad, and I'm just using this as an example. Y'all don't think I want y'all to only eat salads, but like a big salad with like grilled chicken, squeeze lemon, or a smoothie or something like that would be an ideal pre-indulgent meal because it maximizes your fullness for the lowest amount of calories. So you're not starving when you get to indulge. But if you choose your indulgent meal to be breakfast, then, it's kind of like, all right, like maybe you're doing brunch, then Your last meal may be a little bit earlier because, again, you're supposed to have this plan. So then dinner could be a little bit earlier, kind of push breakfast out so that you at least give yourself 12 hours from your last meal to when you have your indulgent breakfast. 16 hours would be great, but sometimes it doesn't work like that. Here's another little tip. Work out before you indulge. Okay, so another way that you can maximize fat burning gains from your indulgent meal is to deplete what are called your glycogen stores, which is sugar in your system that your body burns up for energy. Okay, so the way this works is that your body won't store those carbs as body fat, the excess carbs from your indulgent meal, until the glycogen stores are full. So the emptier the glycogen stores are, the more room that you have for your spaghetti or your fries to end up as glycogen stores versus ending up on your hips and your belly. So a way that you can do that is actually hit the gym that day before your indulgent meal. Okay. And have like a circuit training workout or something like that, or something where you're lifting a little bit heavier weights to deplete those glycogen stores as much as possible. That could even just be 20 minutes, y'all. So you could do that. And then if you want to have an extra boost, have a cup of black coffee. Don't come for me. Don't at me. Okay. Black coffee helps with pre-workout, and it also helps to increase your fat metabolism, but only if it's black. Once you add, sugar and cream, it doesn't work the same way because it just doesn't. So black coffee, I like black iced coffee because it's easier to get down, not as acidic. Before your workout, get in that high energy strength training, some intervals, some HIIT, and then your body's burning at such a high level that you're ready for that indulgent meal and it won't show up as crazy. Okay, so make sure you know what the heck you're going to have, because it can be easy to be overwhelmed by temptations on the menu. So when you're presented with a whole bunch of menu options and stuff like that, we tend to eat more. So just limit those food choices. Think about what you're going to have ahead of time. Look at the menu ahead of time, and then get a couple of options and then see what's what, or figure out what you want, but limit your food options so that you don't have to really consume the whole menu or think about that. All right. So if it does have a buffet, I'm not really a super fan of that. Just pursue just those things that you absolutely love. You want to go to this restaurant with a game plan. Okay. So know what you're going to order before the waiter arrives at your table. And my suggestion is to always order first. Okay. So just have it. This is what I'm going to get. And then just, keep it moving. So the other thing, which is going to sound like counter, is not to pig out. Okay. And you're like, wait, but I thought I was indulging. Indulging and pigging out are two very, very different things. The idea is not to stuff yourself silly, like a stuffed turkey. That doesn't work. The indulgent is an opportunity to eat the things that you love, but not a mandate to just go overboard and go nuts and eat everything possible. So the thing is, you want to make sure that you have in your mind that this is a indulgent meal, not a cheat day. Yeah, I'm going to use the word cheat for that one. It's not a cheat day. You're having an indulgent meal. Okay. So keep it within portion, because you don't need to just be stuffed. Okay. So eat 2 to 3 pieces of pizza, not the whole freaking thing. So even when we're doing indulgences, still practice portion control. Most of the time, you can take half of any restaurant thing with you, unless you're at a bougie restaurant, and just take half of it with you, and then you can enjoy it again later or share a plate with someone else. Okay. So there are best and worst when it comes to indulgent meals. Okay. Some of the best ones would be high carb, moderate protein will help you stay on track a little bit better, because carbohydrates have a great influence on those whole leptin levels, which helps you to burn fat and feel satisfied. And protein is great, even if it is fried, because it helps you to feel fuller for a longer period of time. So few rolls of sushi, get a good decadent butter covered steak with some fries, or potato pancakes with some eggs and bacon, spaghetti and meatballs, those types of things. The worst type of way to indulge is a high fat meal just by itself, because it causes more immediate fat storage than a high carb meal. Okay, and that's because fat is stored as body fat more efficiently than carbs or proteins. So something like that would not be great would be something like creamy pasta dishes. If you do get that, make sure you get some protein and vegetables. Greasy pizza, that's why you would want some vegetables to go with that, or just something with some protein to go with that. So, and unfortunately, most desserts where you have to be careful. It's not to say don't, but just know there's better and worse types of indulgent meals. The other thing is to drink water. Kumbaya, the sodium is going to be so insane, and you're going to you're going to have a food belly. So just make sure that you're drinking water like you should throughout the day. Okay. I typically will get in about 100 ounces, sometimes up to a gallon of water. And that just makes sure that I'm staying hydrated and I'm readily available to flush out those excess amounts of sodium. Okay. Then still take your time, enjoy the meal. Don't wolf it down. Eat slowly. All right. And I always have as a rule for my clients to start off with a salad. Get some veggies in. Salad is your appetizer. Salad is the gateway, the price of admission for you to have whatever you want. Now, how do we bounce back from this indulgent meal? Because that next day you might feel cravings for more stuff. First thing, please do not get on the scale for 2 to 4 days. I don't know why I have to say this, because my clients they are so well known for okay, they had this indulgent meal and they're like, oh my God, I'm 5 pounds heavier. Dude, you went ham yesterday and you indulged, of course. And the thing is, it's not real weight, it's fake weight. It's fake weight from the sodium, sugar, and carbs. It's just causing your body to retain more water. It's not that big of a deal. It's what happens when you indulge. You're not going to have burger, fries, milkshake, wings, and stuff like that, and then lose weight. It's not how that works. But they are just hell bent, if you will, on just getting on the scale. I don't know if it's this weird punishment thing, but yeah, don't get on the scale for 2 to 4 days, because inevitably when it happens, I'm like, just get back on your game, drink the water. Next thing you know, all the fake weight falls off, and then maybe they're even a pound or 2 less. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, please don't do this again. Okay. Next thing, you want to follow up that indulgent meal with a very healthy, compliant meal, mainly protein with lots of veggies or a green protein smoothie, and a lot of water with lemon. Lemon helps to flush it out after you have that indulgent meal. Remember, we don't want your body or your mind or anything else to think that this is a new pattern. We want it to be like, oh, this isn't normal. Let's just flow through this. Okay. So follow up that indulgent meal with something that is very healthy, very compliant. Then at least after that last meal or that indulgent meal, as long as it's not breakfast or lunch, try and go 12 hours. At least 12 hours from that last meal until, the next day. 12 to 16 hours, that is like intermittent fasting, just to give your body to churn through more of those carbs before you introduce more food. The next day, do a strength training workout or another high intensity interval type of workout the following day so that your metabolism is a little bit lifted. You can burn through things a little bit faster. Lastly, be nice to yourself. This is something that is normal. You just need to just keep it moving and get back on track as soon as possible, eating towards your goals. So indulge, but then get back on track as soon as possible. Well, that is all for today. Let me know how this episode connected with you. You can connect with me on social media on Facebook and IG under Mix Kitchen Fitness. And if you'd like to chat about what it would be like to work together, you can set that up by going to my website at mixkitchenfitness.com. If you have any questions, email me at healthyhappyandhotshow@gmail.com. Until next week. Stay healthy, my friends.